Retail therapy. How's it going, guys? My name's Will DeFries. In the studio with me today, as always, Barrett Dudley. Barrett, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. We're just, the year, it's beginning to wind down, and I'm getting ready to prepare myself for 2024, mostly by just like brushing up and studying on, something pretty basic. I'm sure you've heard of him, like the Japanese philosophical farmer, Masanobu Fukuoka, it's just pretty basic stuff. It's just where, cultivation where you don't interfere too much. That's really kind of like my vibe for 2024.
It's honestly crazy you're saying that because I was having the exact same thoughts before we started recording today.
Yeah. And like maybe if you're an interdisciplinary artist like Rikrit Tiravanija, then you're on that same wavelength. I don't know. It's okay if you're not. That's all I'm saying. But for me, I am just getting ready to cultivate without interfering too much.
Yeah. Whenever I cultivate and there's interference, I'm just like, man, I wish there wasn't this much interference during my cultivation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
We'll get to more of that in a little bit. The vibes are definitely shifting going into 2024. I'm actually quite excited about the end of the year on retail therapy. For me is a really good time because I feel like we really get to peak during the fall season. I feel as though going into the new year, we get to look back on the year that was, but also get excited for the new stuff. Like it's just a feasting time for us over here.
This episode almost kind of encapsulates everything that just hits so hard about retail therapy in the fall. We've got trend talk, we've got gift guide talk, we've got maybe even most of all sweater talk.
I'm very excited for sweater talk.
Like I was just you put this on the rundown, and I was getting all horned up for sweaters, and it like I've got so many that I like and that I cherish, and it's truly. I was thinking about it, and I was like, is when you boil it all down, more than Christmas, more than the holidays, more than hot chocolate by the fire, is the sole reason that I like the fall and the winter just sweaters? Just sweaters?
Yeah. The first time you get to put on a sweater, anytime, it's like, you're like, okay, this is good. If you can go sweater shorts, and you're just living the good life. I was going to do something before the episode, but I thought it would be better if I just waited until the episode happened. Barrett, can we get a quick fit check on you real quick?
A little fit check? Yeah. I kind of dial it up today because we've got this weird weather where it starts off in the morning at about 40 degrees. Like it's chilly walking to your car.
Yeah.
And then right about now, and on into the evening, it hovers at like 72. So it's a big jump. So
it's a nice range, if I'm being honest.
It is a nice range, but it requires kind of what we were just talking about, which is a little bit of layering. So I've got a Craig Green jacket on, a quilted jacket in a fun bright blue. That's like that. It's perfect for this type of weather because it's like lightweight but still kind of insulated. My white tee, very cropped, from Uniform LA. Shouts to our boy Pat, and then black pants from Black Cargos from Engineered Garments.
Love to see it.
Yeah. So and you have an amazing looking crew neck on.
I do. I actually have an authentic,
which is honestly a harder flex than anything I've got on today.
I have an authentic Taylor Swift Eras Tour sweatshirt on right now. Yeah. I'm very happy that I own this. This is the first time that I've deployed this in a public setting.
Okay, I didn't think I'd ever seen you wear this.
You haven't. Yeah, I saw it sitting on the pile today. Honestly, I kind of forgot that retail therapy was today when I was getting dressed this morning. Usually I like to put on something that's a little retail therapy feeling.
Right.
And I put this on not thinking, and I was like, you know what? This actually works. Yeah. I had the very fortunate thing where I acquired this sweatshirt not by going to the show, but by simply having a connection. The guy that used to do, if you bought one of the original Sunday Scary sweatshirts, the person that did this, his name is Jack. He gave me an inside line on this. He now does other merch outside of just stuff for podcasts and things like that. And so when I got the offer that he could find one for me, I put him on it. Now, did you grab two of those? Does Sally have her own, or is this a shared item? I didn't want to go too far, and so I simply got a sweatshirt that I knew would fit us both in those scenarios. Yeah. And I'm pretty happy with it.
That's nice.
I looked it up and I saw that they were going for like $175 on eBay.
Yeah.
Which like maybe I could have sold this, but like it's honestly a nice sweatshirt.
Yeah. Did you also get edged up a little bit? Did you?
I did.
Did you get the hair cleaned up?
I did. I'm a little worried. I'm in a position right now where I haven't loved my hair lately. I'm going through a big transition period right now between. I'm switching over from gel to pomade and clay. I used to be a pomade.
Is that because of the weather, or that's just a lifestyle change?
Just kind of the lifestyle change. I've been a gel guy for the last few years because I use some some nice gel at a spa. And then recently I thought to myself, you know what? I haven't changed things up in a while. And I went a week without putting anything in my hair, which is a very foreign feeling that I will never do again. I was simply too lazy to order anything. And now that I've made the switch over to clay and stuff, I feel like I'm actually having like a little like hair renaissance. Like I'm really enjoying putting stuff in my hair in the morning and putting my hands through it in the afternoon.
Yeah, sometimes the vibe that needs to be shifted is actually just a product that goes in your hair.
I was trying to think of it. I don't remember the last time I made that big of a switch in life. Like that, I put stuff in my hair every single day that I get ready, except for that 1 week. And like I can't remember the last time I made a daily change of this gravity. It's a big one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm a little surprised that you're not in here with just like a real high and tight fade. Like beard goes straight into like nearly skin, all around the sides and the back, and then goes into like, you know, what your hair looks like on top right now. Because it struck me while watching a Premier League game recently that literally every single player on the field has a fade right now.
Yeah.
Like every single one has some variation.
A lot of fades.
Of like nearly completely shaved, like all on the sides, like almost to the top.
It's crazy.
It's like I've never seen a hairstyle dominate football like this.
Yeah.
Like there's usually like a few different ones that are kind of happening at the moment. It's just nothing but fades out there.
Yeah.
Like hard fades.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's everybody.
You got to think that all the lads in the UK right now are just fading up.
There's got to be like a guy that goes into each locker room and just fades dudes up before the game, right? Or do you think they go to each individual guy? I feel we got to have Tim Howard on for this.
Yeah, he would definitely know.
Because like, imagine if you were the fade guy for like Chelsea, like you just lived in London, and you're like, all right, we got a match on Saturday. I got to go to the
I'm
stadium
positive
a little early.
That some of them share a barber.
Yeah,
they're like you got to
sure.
get with my guy. You know, you got to get with my guy Tommy. And
you'll see dudes like post on Instagram like from their barber, like shouting out their barber and stuff. But yeah. I like the idea of a guy going into the locker room and just doing it from there, just calling it a day.
But even the broiest lad that we've ever had on Bake Off this year, he's faded up.
What? I'm so glad you're watching. I'm so glad you're watching. What a season we're having of Great British Baking Show this year.
I'm not all the way caught up.
Okay, I was going to say,
but I've had a little bit of I've seen friend of the pod Kayla kind of spoiled something there for me.
I am caught up except for the most recent episode, and we're going to watch it soon, probably tonight. And I can't wait because it's been such an unsuspecting crew of people to kind of rise to the top this season. Yeah. It's been an awesome season.
Yeah.
I could do an entire podcast on this season of Great British Baking Show. It's my favorite season that I've watched maybe ever. I know that's a lot. It's a big thing to say, but
maybe we'll have to do a little segment on Bake Off.
It's the best
over the break.
It's the best.
Just toss something into it.
Did you watch Dairy Girls?
No,
you would like it.
I've seen a few episodes, but then it kind of like fell by the wayside because it wasn't.
They did a Dairy Girls full episode of Bake Off where they had them all on.
I did actually watch that one.
It was good. It was released in the UK about a year before it was released on Netflix.
That is what happens.
They tried to act like it was brand new, and Sally and I were like, "Wait, we watched this last year when we were over there."
Yeah,
like,
they put they especially wait for the holiday one. Like whatever they did for holiday 2022 in the UK is probably about to hit Netflix like in the next few weeks.
You're absolutely correct.
So,
like we said, we got a loaded episode today. So here's some main official business things to get out of the way. Next week, we're doing our in-out episode. Probably the most listened to episode we do of the year outside of our gift guide and our fall fashion preview. Dial in. We're talking all things in and out. Also, we got a few, as of right now, as of this recording, we got about 30 retail therapy candles left. I don't know how many will be left by the time that this episode airs, but if you want one, go to velabox.com/SundayScaries. Go cop a candle. We absolutely love them. I had the pleasure of doing the maiden burn last night at our place, and I was very pleased with the results.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And speaking of segments, this is one that we shoved to the side a little bit, but I was kind of thinking about jumping back into gift guide, thinking about like White Elephant or maybe something for your parents or your in-laws. If you're just like, if you don't have any ideas, you don't know them that well or something like that, you're like, I don't know what they want. They got everything. This is the perfect gift.
Let's go.
You can spread the gospel of retail therapy and also give somebody a really nice smelling candle.
Dude, I'm so bad at White Elephant gifts.
Yeah.
I'm not good at choosing gifts. Like I remember at Grand X, I thought I got something funny and no one laughed.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
It happens sometimes.
Then no one claimed it. Like no one even, it was just a disaster for me.
Sometimes you bomb.
Sometimes you bomb. And finally, go on YouTube, youtube.com/SundayScaries podcast. This podcast is better as a visual medium as we put a ton of stuff on the screen. So go check it out there. Please press that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's hear from our friends over at Alfa Romeo. If you're not familiar with the Alfa Romeo Tonale, It's an all-new car from Alfa Romeo that's loaded with tech. They got the large touchscreen. They got the safety tech, automatic emergency braking. You just feel safe in these things, but at the same time, they've got that classic Alfa Romeo performance, so you know that it's going to be fun to drive. You can get zipping around town. If you're running some errands and putting some groceries in the back of your car, you kind of feel like you're a little race driver. It's just a great thing. More than anything, they got that Italian exterior and that luxurious interior design. It's just unique. It stands out. They've also got the plug-in hybrid technology for the freedom to choose between gas or electric. But above all, these things just look good. They feel good. Go make it happen. Learn more about the Alfa Romeo Tonale at alfaromeousa.com. Again, learn more about it at alfaromeousa.com. Well, I don't know if you guys felt this when we first started recording today, but the vibes, they be shifting. T Magazine, the New York Times Style magazine, has put out the T Predictor. What we'll be obsessing over in 2024. They asked 46 artists, filmmakers, chefs, and other creative people to forecast next year's cultural trends. Let's break it down. The first one that they went down was which colors will dominate everything, pretty much. And I'm not really surprised by a lot of the responses here. Were you?
No, I feel like, you know, the one of the big theme here is obviously, I feel like brown. Everybody was saying brown.
Brown and purple for me were what stuck out.
Purple was kind of like second to brown that definitely stuck out. And we talked about purple kind of having its moment earlier this year. So not surprising to see that one continue.
No.
Honestly, I was surprised that more people didn't say red, since that's having such a moment in women's wear right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's burning hotter and faster. You know, it is a fiery color. And you know, maybe it's just a little bit more of a quick trend, whereas the browns and the purples people see more longevity. But yeah, it was actually just surprisingly, I was cruising on Bonobos recently. The boys at Bonobos reached out, and I was just kind of like looking at their stuff, and like the two things in my cart right now: a brown velvet blazer, mm-hmm. which would be amazing for holidays or for, I don't know, rehearsal dinner, who knows, and then like a brown cashmere sweater, like that. So I was just immediately gravitating toward the brown as well.
I ordered some pajama set.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I saw the pajamas.
Yeah, I went with the elephant. Or no, the walruses. I think
the walrus. Yeah.
With the scarves on, and I was like, you know what? We talked about pajamas. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. If I can have the opportunity to get some free jams, I'm going with it.
That's it. I was very, very tempted with that.
What I have to look forward to that you don't have to look forward to is I cannot wait to wake up on Christmas Day and put those on to go open presents with the boys.
Yeah. That's going to be big for you.
Yeah. Like
that is the moment for those pajamas.
Exactly. They might only get worn on Christmas every single year, but I'm very excited about that. I'm not surprised by the brown thing. Like, I feel like ever since Bodhi started bubbling up over the last few years, everyone's going brown a little bit, and I don't really hate it. Yeah. Like, I like the color brown as something to base things off of. I've actually found myself having to pivot away from buying things that are purple, plum, burgundy, whatever they are. Because, I mean, do you have any colors that you've had to avoid lately? Because you're like, okay, I have everything this. For me, it's been that color.
It's still the green for me. Yeah. I'm having to like consciously say, I don't need more green. I don't need more olive.
I don't have to consciously think about green at this point. I just know that everything I have is green right now. So like, I can't go with that. Yeah. But now that the purple's falling in more, it's like, it's kind of hard.
Are you a big Jeff Tweedy guy?
No.
Okay.
Why?
That's a name that I don't know. Feels like it pops up often. He's a musician and songwriter that I feel like people that are real into indie are very familiar with.
Yeah.
I disagreed with his take. He said the hyper trend will probably continue. Neon green, safety orange, maximum reds, though everyone will still look like they're going camping. Picture lumberjacks at a rave. And I'm not sure I see that. That feels like very like 90s LL Bean or something to me.
Yeah, and I don't feel like people are taking like the camping gorpcore vibes that far lately. I almost feel like I feel like it's still present when I'm looking through stuff like mood boards and stuff like that, but I don't feel like it's top of mind. I will say that outside of shoes, like I still see Solomon's on every single page that I go to on anything.
Yep.
And so I do get it, but like I almost feel like the pops of color and like the whole like 90s look of things. We talked about it with like the ALD drop. Randy, ring the damn bell. That like they had like some of those like I don't even know how to describe it. It almost looks like a metallic surfer dude would be wearing these shirts and stuff. Like
he's over there studying up on Masanobu Fukuoka.
No, Randy's been buying stuff from Abercrombie and Fitch lately, and he's just absolutely feeling himself.
I was looking at the new Wash Media Discord, seeing what was going on there. I'm trying to separate my.
Okay,
I'm too much.
But like I feel like even though people are talking about like those colors and stuff, I still don't feel like a lot of people are wearing bright colors still.
Right.
I have embraced the red a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's not a color I've ever worn very much of until this year. So I'm down with the red. We have another one. Who or what will have a comeback? My notes on this were that this kind of reads like an art world high society version of an SNL Stefan skit.
Yeah. This was the one where the artists and the fashion people and the musicians and everybody that they interviewed for this said, "Let me think of the most obscure and pretentious sounding thing I can come up with here, because I don't know who any of these people are. And maybe I'm just uncultured swine, but yeah, now obviously, of course, I knew about Masanobu Fukuoka. Naturally, who doesn't?
Yeah,
but everybody else, I was,
No, but you knew about Marisol Escobar's wooden symbolist portraiture and Joe Brainerd's diaristic and handmade artworks. Like, obviously, like you and I have also studied a lot of Felix Gonzalez Torres and the poetry that he could impart onto objects.
Only because I've also been thinking about conceptual artist Felix Gonzalez Torres, and he's like a natural connection to Escobar and to Brainerd. So
yeah, and like on the next one talks about flowers and plants and stuff, and like as we noted, like in Victorian times, flowers would bear silent messages, and so like obviously you want to find new poetic ways to speak using codes and stuff, and so like that's kind of where I'm at.
Here's one I did like from what plant or flower will we fall in love with? Some sort of small tree. I liked the vague. It's just how about a small tree? I'm down with that. And Satoshi Kuwata follows that up by saying people will realize that flowers aren't sustainable, and that actually might have a little bit of a kernel of truth there.
I never thought about that.
We've had a lot of flowers in and out of our house for the holidays, for hosting, for people sending us flowers for a variety of things, and it's a nice touch, but they sure don't last.
Someone gave us an orchid to celebrate the birth of our second son, and that orchid is just hanging on for dear life right now. I was told to put an ice cube on it once a week, and so every Monday morning I wake up, I embrace the week, and I think about life, and I put a single ice cube on it, and it has since died. And so I don't know how to keep anything alive at this point. I don't know, small trees, I could maybe freak with some small trees.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
like
a bonsai?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I could see bonsai trees really having a moment. Like, are bonsai trees traditionally, like, Japanese? Everyone loves, like, workwear from Japan, so why can't we start embracing their miniature trees as well?
We probably should.
Do you have any flowers or plants that you're going to fall in love with in 2024?
I don't know. I might just be basic as hell and add a fiddle leaf fig to the mix.
I could. I've been on a little fern moratorium for a little bit after I lost my 2 ferns to some just intense heat and sun, and so I think I might scoop some ferns, but I don't know if the whole vibe is shifting fern yet. It's just hard. This is where we really make our money. Okay, what will the aesthetic trends be? A lot of 80s.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that's not that crazy of a proclamation from all these creative people. Like they went off on their talk about what was it? The what will have a comeback, and they like didn't have anything left for the aesthetics, and they were all just like, yeah, it's gonna be like 80s and 90s, and I'm like, that's a really basic answer for this.
Yeah. Alex Eagle said polka dots. That's the big aesthetic for 2020.
I haven't seen a lot of polka dots lately, so maybe that could be something that pumps up. I think I'm more of a small polka dot guy than a large polka dot guy.
Let me blow your mind with this, Will.
Okay.
The next leather jacket you might be shrimp leather.
I don't. Can you expand on shrimp leather?
Peter Doe, the fashion designer, he possibly could, because he's gearing up to use shrimp leather in his next collection. Yeah, it's the Derelict campaign.
No one's using shrimp leather.
Sorry, I didn't book it.
It's just simply not happening. Shrimp are like the rat of the sea.
I also liked Raul Lopez's answer. He hopes Y2K burns in hell.
This was my favorite answer.
He's so done with the copy and paste aesthetic, the micro mini with the little lettuce hem, the little blouse. It's going to be more about taking classic silhouettes and giving them a twist. 1950s, really tailored, sharp, with pocket watches. Also, long tees. I do not agree with this piece. The cropped Kanye-esque disheveled short tee is going to fade out. I don't think so.
I don't agree
Not
either.
2024 because our jackets are all too cropped.
Yes.
And the way that clothing works is like stuff starts rising like a jacket and then like the t-shirts follow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all because the pants got real wide and it takes a minute for everything to kind of like push the dominoes back down the other way. And so you can't just immediately like ditch the crop tees because then they're going to be hanging a foot out of your jacket. So it's like first we have to go back to jackets that aren't cropped, and then maybe the T length will follow. So I 100% agree with the not that I hate the 90s and 2000s references that are everywhere right now. It's more like the kind of millennial anger that boils over with Gen Z acting like they kind of like created the 90s and the 2000s because they're literally just copy and pasting.
I feel territorial on it.
90s and Y2K looks.
It's like the first time we've been able to be territorial about this stuff because we actually lived through that at a time in our lives where we probably made fashion decisions for ourselves.
Yep.
And so like seeing how copy and pasted it is sometimes, it's just kind of like, okay, well, you're not really doing much here. Like, I don't know. Even the copy and pasting, I'm really tired of it from like romantic comedies and stuff. Everyone trying to copy and paste the When Harry Met Sally fit that he has. Like, it's just like, okay, I feel like that's been done a million times over. Like, we just don't need to keep doing that. We can get a little more creative with it. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, his answer was my favorite, but I do agree that I'm just simply not ready for
the long
t-shirts to be long. I really enjoy the shorter crop t-shirt, the more kind of square look. And so it makes me happy.
How about culture? David Oyelowo, actor from Silo. I don't know if everybody out there watched Silo, but a bunch of other things. Selma, the film Selma. He said, in the wake of COVID-19, we're going to see even more of the biggest concerts ever. I based on the Bad Bunny ticket prices that we mentioned a month ago, I tend to agree with that.
We have Taylor Swift and Beyonce would probably be my first two off the board if we had to draft the biggest tours that go on.
Well, Harry Styles.
Harry Styles, who hasn't toured in a little bit that can go tour and blow it up.
So I feel like despite a recent lack of like mega hits, the person that comes to mind that could absolutely blow out like a massive tour, and I don't think anybody is reaching Era's level. No. But Lady Gaga feels very poised.
Okay. Is she beyond making music at this point? In a pop sense?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Like she's doing like Oscar films and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like she's taking herself so seriously. Not in a bad way taking herself seriously, but I just don't get the drift that the music scratches her itch as much as some other stuff maybe.
That's probably right. And I feel like she would need like a true like she couldn't put out an album and have it be like a B- album and pull this off. She would need a really, really like kind of big, well-received, A to A+ album, I think. But she just stands out to me as like such an unbelievable performer that I absolutely could see her doing a massive stadium.
But like Rihanna's in the same boat as that. Like I feel like she's so in her nesting phase of having kids and stuff that like we're not going to get a Rihanna tour, but that would move the needle for me. Yeah. I'm too old to care about a Billie Eilish kind of tour, even though I think that moves the needle for a lot of younger people.
Yeah, I saw, you familiar with the artist Maggie Rogers?
Yeah. So
I saw her at ACL, and I like Maggie Rogers. I like her music. I obviously, I picked her show to go see over some others. And like her presence on stage with essentially no fanfare was just like absolutely magnetic and thrilling. And the show was 45 minutes of kind of like a nonstop high because of the energy that she was bringing.
I'm bummed to have missed her every time I've had the opportunity to go see her.
And so there's something about like an artist like Billie Eilish, or I hate to say this, but and maybe I'm wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. But even Rihanna, that I'm not sure I don't know if they have the performative energy to pull off these massive shows the way that like Beyonce and Taylor Swift and Harry Styles could.
That's the thing.
I'm probably wrong. She's probably just been in that nesting phase that you mentioned for so long that I've forgotten what she can do. And maybe I'm still remembering the Super Bowl performance from earlier this year as well, which was cool. I liked it, but it was like more just a vibe than like a really like knock my socks off type of thing.
Yeah.
She definitely has the catalog. She's got the bangers.
She's got the catalog to do it.
But I don't know. I would need to be reminded that she has something kind of intangible to bring that would like generate the same type of fervor that Styles, Beyonce, Taylor did.
I consider myself a concert goer. I feel like I've gone to more and more concerts as we've gotten out of 2020, and I feel like it's just been a thing that I really have enjoyed doing. And I actually think that while we might have more super tours and things like that that go on, I actually think that a lot of people will gravitate towards smaller shows that are easier on the pockets, that are just easier to go to. I think there's going to be an exhaustion of people going to Eras tours.
Yeah.
And having to fight through everything and do everything.
You simply cannot afford it more than...
It's crazy.
I mean, I don't... Once a year, maybe.
I requested,
if you're lucky.
I requested fish tickets for their nights at the Sphere in April, and I was like shocked. I was shocked at how inexpensive the tickets were. They were, I mean, the ones that I requested were under $200, and I was just like, okay, I shouldn't be pumped that I spent $380 right now. I should still be annoyed that I spent that much money.
Yeah, I still have a hard time like wrapping my mind around that. Like that just being like the baseline of admission to a stadium tour.
Yeah. Was there anything else in the culture that like stuck out?
Well, thruples.
That's like something like, I understand that people are out there, and I understand that the younger generation might be a little more free with this stuff, but I feel like we are very much our parents' generation and like that kind of stuff. Unless you're like, unless you're, you know, a kind of freewheeling type of person, I just don't see like that just catching on. I don't know.
Do you and Sally watch Sex Education on Netflix?
I have not watched the most recent season, but we've watched every season except for the most recent one.
We're about halfway through the most recent season, and it kind of like it's basically this season is just basically super gay.
Yeah,
and I mean that just very positively.
That's kind of how the other season that preceded it. I feel like they were kind of like getting away from some of the characters and exploring different parts of sexuality that weren't covered in the first season. That was just pretty much just like a love story.
Yes. And so they go even further with that, but it's got a lot to say, and kind of like in I think mostly a very good way about how open and like differently Gen Z is like seeing all of that basically. So that's been a good watch. But concerts and thruples, that's really what stood out to me.
Before we get to the next one, I'm going to speak to our friends over at Blue Land, because I know we've got a decent amount of this list left. So I want to cut this down a little bit. The holidays can create even more waste than usual, and each year Americans throw away 25% more trash from Thanksgiving to New Year's. That's a lot of trash. What if we told you that there's a way to get all of your holiday shopping done without the guilty feeling over the waste that typically comes with it? Well, meet Blue Land. If you go to my kitchen right now, you'll see a bottle of Blue Land sitting right there. It's a glass bottle. It looks nice. And it's the easiest part is that it's a refillable bottle that I never have to worry about. They just send you the tabs, you put them in the water, and you call it a day. Blue Land's on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet. The idea is simple. You just grab one of the beautiful Forever bottles, you fill it with warm water, drop in the tablet, and you get cleaning. Refills start at $2.25, and you don't have to buy a new plastic bottle every time you run out. You can even set up a subscription or buy in bulk so you never run out of products that you use the most. From cleaning sprays to hand soap to toilet cleaner and laundry tablets, all Blue Land products are made with ingredients you can feel good about. For a limited time, Blue Land's hand soap is getting a festive upgrade with a beautiful chocolate box-inspired gift set with cozy scents like peppermint, winterberry, and vanilla frost. So yes, it's the perfect gift for your loved ones or yourself to reduce waste. Blue Land has a special offer for our listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/scaries. You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/scaries for 15% off. That's blueland.com/scaries for 15% off.
Been loving my Blue Land stuff, by the way.
I have.
Bathroom, kitchen, kitted out. Blue Land.
I have been washing my hands more and more and more lately because of the baby around. And honestly, I love knowing that I'm not just like going through plastic bottles. We need to actually implement this at the studio.
Get some Blue Land up in the studio.
We need it.
Well, I do want to keep going here. I think we should save what will we eat in 2024 for a future episode.
Okay.
We might have somebody on that would be better to bounce some of those off of.
That's fine with me. That's fine with me.
But obviously we got to talk about a couple more. What do you hope will happen, and which body part will be in fashion?
Which body part? What do you hope will happen?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how right some of these people are. I think they're hopeful.
Yeah.
But it says like a revival of independent cinema, films that make new voices who miss their opportunity due to the strike. there might be a return of that, but I honestly feel like we're going so big cinema in so many things that like we just don't. I feel like, are people going to the movies as much as they were pre 2020?
Definitely not.
Okay. Like then that's my concern about like having like a bit like I worry about independent cinema more than I think that it's coming back.
I definitely think independent cinema is in danger, but I do feel like there is something to be hopeful for with the recent stretch of kind of flops from Marvel and DC. Mm-hmm. And the successes of things that are fresher and newer and offering audiences something that they haven't seen before, like Oppenheimer and Barbie, that were such smash hits. I hope that at least spells something good for us. That like that telling these studios that hey, maybe new is better than old, than rehash.
I know Barbie is a classic toy that's based on so much history. But I feel like the way they did the movie was in a much different vein than you would do a normal Barbie movie. Oppenheimer was an original picture about something that hadn't been covered in cinema before. Like, but there's so many remakes that like I just hope the remakes go away. We don't need remakes anymore. It just doesn't need to happen. Yeah. Can I talk about Perfume Genius's response to this?
Yes.
Everything's been about wellnessy stuff. Now it'll be about drinking probiotics and vaping, having a cupcake and a ginger shot. I feel like stuff's already kind of doing that.
Do you know what my all-time favorite aesthetic that we've ever discussed on this podcast is?
What?
Night looks.
Yeah.
The sexy, swanky, like just kind of, dim light, motion in the photography, like martinis on the table. I don't think I've ever connected with an aesthetic as much as I did that one. And that just like, when we talked about that one, it was kind of like wellnessy backlash. And so I love this because I'm certainly not a person that is eschewing wellness. I'm wearing my red light mask. I'm working out. I'm trying to eat healthy, but like it's certainly not fun the way that,
my thing with wellness
that other things are.
When I started Sunday Scaries, it started as kind of a different thing than it is now. Like it wasn't as wellnessy. It was more like anti-workplace or pro going out, stuff like that. And then as I started to get more and more into the wellness game, I started to realize like how ridiculous the wellness kind of culture and influencer culture is. And I think that with how Gen Z handles social media and how like transparent they are and how they don't worry about things being aesthetic-y and stuff like that, they're just not going to want the prepackaged stuff that's shoved in their face. And when it comes to wellness, everything is prepackaged, everything is clean, everything is nice. That I see people getting away from that in an intentional way to show like, no, like self-care doesn't just have to be doing the healthy thing. Self-care can be doing the unhealthy stuff and the bad habits that still make you feel good.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like and that's how I've always looked at the wellness market now, because it's so high on itself in so many different ways that it just doesn't make sense to me. What else do we have here? I feel like there were some good ones in this one.
Well, I did think it was notable that Rick Owens, you ever heard of him? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He, like I would imagine most people, he says, cancel culture and online judgment have reached such a peak. I'm looking forward to their correction, which is inevitable, I hope.
What's the correction though?
Maybe back to, and I know this is a bad word these days, but like maybe back to more of like the status quo where people are given a chance to prove that they've changed or have different values. Or
cancel culture is also, people talk at length about cancel culture in general, but like I'm one of the believers that cancel culture doesn't really actually cancel most people. If you look at when Joe Rogan was going through his entire thing, the first thing I did when I see someone getting canceled is I go to a website that is still funded by our old employer, and I still have an account through them, and you can go look at Instagram stats and stuff. Okay. The amount that Joe Rogan's presence grew during the time where he was being canceled was insane. And so like, I just don't even think that cancel culture even really exists in the first place.
How many people did you see with Morgan Wallen as their number one?
Exactly. Like it doesn't really matter. Right? It's a PR opportunity for these people. And things move so fast in the news cycle that it's really easy for people to move on. And like, sure, like when I see things about like artists that have been canceled in the past, like it kind of lingers with me a little bit. But there's very few cases where I will stop taking in somebody's music or media just because they did something inappropriate. I might like stop listening for a long time, and let that fester. But it's not something that I like want to worry about or want to look at. Everyone has some colorful thing in their past that could get them in trouble. And I'm not trying to justify those people, but like us as a culture, we can't just hone in on that all the time because it's an unhealthy thing to do. It's just harping on the negative at all times. It drives me fucking insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's jump to body part.
Let's jump to body parts.
Before we move on to our next segment, because I, along with Jenna Lyons here, I'm just ready for appendage cleavage, and by that I mean ankles and forearms.
Duh.
Yeah.
No, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I've been wearing. I'm actually showing ankle today for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. Sockless with a cropped pant. So what you got going on?
Just a little, just like a little no. I'm actually doing something you hate. I'm doing the no-show sock that you can definitely still see through the shoe.
Okay.
I'm with my Van. I'm on my Vans grind today. Yeah. But like ever since Emrata said the thing about showing ankle, I'm embarrassed to say how much real estate it's owned in my head. I have put on socks in so many different cases where I never would have put on socks before. And even walking around the house now, I don't like being barefooted. I'm like, I've taken her word as gospel, and now I'm unwilling to show any cleavage on my ankles.
Yeah,
I just don't want to do it.
Okay. Somebody else says that the chest, which the name, God, I'm going to botch this. I think it's Tebi Magugu. The chest, which I've always associated most with the soul. It symbolizes pride for men and women. And I'm thinking of a few things here. One, I'm thinking of the Super Deep V SNL sketch from Andy Samberg back in the day. I'm also thinking about another TV show, Foundation, which is what we're actually covering on OCC right now. And Lee Pace is one of the stars of the show, and he's 6'5", and he has the tallest and broadest chest I have ever seen in my entire life.
Is he showing it off?
Oh yes. Like the robes that he wears are just constantly just like showing these insane, they're truly insane, these pecs that this guy has.
I'm not a chest guy.
And
I need that high neckline.
And so chest, especially man chest, maybe is poised for a turn on the back of Lee Pace and Foundation in 2024.
I can't show my chest.
Yeah.
No one wants to see my chest.
Well, 2024, I'm gonna be cultivating without interfering, and then I'm just gonna be mogging on everybody with my ankle cleavage and my chest out.
Please mog.
Yeah.
Please mog on everybody. We'll get to the other stuff on this during next week's episode. I think some of the other stuff that's left is, like you said, I think we might have a guest, and I also think there's some stuff that probably falls into a little in-out territory. So let's move on to our next segment, where we're going to take a look at a little Gen X gift guide.
Gen Z gift guide.
Yeah, sorry, I had a typo here. So I talk about Substack a lot. I've been a big Substack person for a while now. And one of my favorite Substacks is called After School by Casey Lewis. Not only does this Substack just have great content all the time, you get it a lot. I mean, there's a lot of newsletters put out from this, which I enjoy. And a lot of the time, it's just links to articles that are very in the retail therapy landscape. And this one really caught my eye, mainly because I want to be a cool teen really badly.
Who among us doesn't?
Yeah, obviously. And so Gen Z, it's a Gen Z gift guide. And what she did was she went through all these gift guides for Gen Z people and kind of parsed it down to the main things. So I think we need to go through these because I think these are very related to us.
Yeah, and specifically, she went out, she parsed these, and then she actually talked to some Gen Zers as well, which a lot of these gift guides tend to not do. I also feel that it's important to just to casually bring up that Nolita Dirtbag went after the plethora of gift guides out there, and I did feel personally attacked by that.
That's okay.
But that's okay, because I feel like ours is still, until our listeners say that they're ready for no more gift guide.
Our gift guide serves no one but the consumer.
No affiliate links.
I even thought to myself, we've got a decent following on here. Like I've put some small retailer stuff on this list. Should I hit up these small people and make sure that they have actual stock for this, whatever? But we straight up only choose things that we enjoy, and I don't feel like we take it too far. We don't benefit anything from our gift guide.
So did anything on this list that she kind of dialed in on, did any through lines stand out to you, or did any single item stand out to you? Because there's one big thing that I just kind of found interesting. You want me to start?
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of the reminder that Gen Z is still basically like teenagers.
Yeah.
And teenagers, more than anything, just want what all their friends have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mostly pretty mainstream stuff that's available at your local mall.
Yeah.
And I always think that that's kind of like a fun reminder, because in my mind, when I think about like TikTok and Gen Z, I'm like, they're so trendy. They're they're hyper aware of just like everything. They're deading all the stuff that millennials like. Like, we're old, they're young. And then you like go down this list and they like want Doc Martens and Uggs and Converse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
it's not rocket science.
Something that's also funny to me is that like I give Gen Z all this credit of being this intimidating force that can bully anybody into anything and how they're driving stuff. But you look at this list and it's like, okay, like, yeah, like they're still teenagers who haven't really found themselves and are just following like the trends,
the macro trends.
Yeah, New Balance 550s on here,
Yes.
sold out everywhere, but surely Santa has a plug. Bonus points for the Ame Leon door pair. Thank you, Randy. Made up for lost time.
There you go.
But like, yeah, like I would, if I saw like a Gen Z kid rocking these, I wouldn't think anything of it. But like, I truly would have never guessed that they were still like rabidly buying these,
right?
Or wanting them at least. Like, and that goes the same with, I don't know. I've never been a Converse person, so it kind of surprises me that they're into Converse, but at the same time, it doesn't. And we've talked about the Ugg Minis and Doc Martens still.
We have. We've also talked about AirPods, which are on this list. Just a very functional, basic gift.
Is this referring to AirPod Maxes or AirPods?
I think just AirPods.
See, this seems like a miss to me, because I feel like the AirPod Maxes have gotten so popular now that people are like scaling back and going with other things. Like, I feel like I don't know if she's talking about AirPods or AirPod Maxes, but even like AirPods, I feel like those are kind of like the standard headphone that everyone buys now.
So that fits this list then.
Okay. True.
Right? Because that's just like, if you need a pair of Bluetooth headphones, which ones do you probably want that aren't like crazy expensive, but you know are good and will work with your phone and all that?
You know what this
is?
And
all your friends have, and it's the AirPods.
You know what this is? This is these kids seeing their parents using this shit and seeing that their parents, like their cool parents using this stuff, and they're just doing it. Because I look at like, I remember talking to both Sally and Laura a couple gift guides ago, a couple years ago, about Dyson hair wraps and how popular those were. So for those to find their way onto this list, it's like, oh yeah, like they're 2 years behind.
Yep. Yeah, those still at the top of the list. I found really interesting. It's a solid device that works really well. Man, and then the Yankees, they all want this 47 brand Yankees cap, and I like 47 brand too.
Where did 47 brand come from, and why did they hit us so quickly?
It's a good question. I shared in a couple of different group texts. I don't know if you saw 47 brand drop their Home Alone capsule called "Keep the Change" recently.
Did see that. It was kind of nice.
I'm pulling it up right now for the YouTubers. This collection slapped.
It did.
I can't lie, and this is just a giant nostalgia blast for us. But like, almost more than the Ame Leon d'Or Mets collection. Like, I was just desperate to be a Cubs or a Yankees fan here, so that I could buy some of this merch. They've got the one that riffs on the pizza place hat, and
those are
obviously
good.
the one that does like the main title script. Just really, really solid nostalgia hit here. But I shared this, and like, even a friend mentioned, he was like, man, 47 brand, like 5 years ago, like was making just like shit hats, like not good stuff. And somehow through collaborations, through development, through just like upping their sourcing and production game, like they're just kind of everywhere. They make for me, like, if you want a dad cap style, adjustable, basic hat in your team's main logos or colors, it's like you go 47 brand. Like, that's just where
I'm going on a group trip with some couples next year, and we've been planning this trip for what feels like 5 years. It's just one of those things that never came together, never did anything. But I want to make some merch for everybody on the trip. I want to make like 10 hats and 5 tote bags and give everybody one of these. And so I asked somebody who I trust the most, like, hey, what hat brand, if I was going to print these hats, what do you want it on? And he was like, 47. And I bought my first ever 47 brand hat recently, and it fits me incredibly. I'm a very big fan of them right now. The other things on here, like Dior Addict Lip Glow Oil, like
been on Sally's list.
That's been on Sally's list for a long time. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that Gen Z is not more. I'm surprised they're not trying harder.
So in the name of that, I feel like kind of going into the Dior, there's two here right under that. It's the Olaplex, which is like a very, very, or I don't know if it's very, very, but it's a high end kind of like niche hair product label. like a bottle of shampoo, I think is like $35 or $40. So that's definitely a little bit of a very specific luxury that they're after. And then the Gissu honey infused hair oil, I'm not as familiar with, but that's on the list. And then kind of in the more aspirational, like the one thing that I think stood out the most to me on this list is Set Active, because I've kind of talked about how, in my experience, I feel like aloe is like the kind of the sets that everybody at Equinox has, and that I see most millennials kind of like really swearing by.
Yes.
But at the gym, I have seen a massive uptick over the last year in matching sets with the little word right on like the waistband or the band of the bra, like Set. And I did not, for the first like 6 to 8 months that I was seeing it, I actually thought it was just kind of like a cheaper, almost like knockoff brand.
It kind of looks, I mean, it doesn't look like it from, if I saw those out right now, I'm not very familiar. I'm not grinding in the gym like you, looking at the new stuff coming up. But like, if I saw that out right now, I would look at that and be like, oh, that's like a cheaper version of
right.
Aloe,
but that's clearly not the case. As Vogue has said, it's a go-to for the likes of Kaya Gerber, Hailey Bieber, and Kylie Jenner. And that piece was called "How the LA-based activewear label became an off-duty model favorite." So it's right up there as with the other brands that we talk about as far as the athleisure and workout gear and the Gen Zs, they want it. The other one that I've just to drop a name here is that I've seen a bunch recently. I think it's called Daily Drills. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay. That's another one to just keep an eye out for that I've started seeing an uptick in, is Daily Drills, like active sets and sweats and stuff like that.
Well, matching sets are very much still in.
Yeah.
Sunday Scary's matching set when needs to happen.
I mean, I think we can make it happen.
And the end of this just says like more stuff, and just so much stuff. String lights and Barefoot Dreams blankets and Skims loungewear and desk organizers, Diptyque candles, that one acne scarf, silk pillowcases. Like, I mean, yeah. It's, you can tell how online I can tell when Sally has something that she found online that she like was in her algorithm, and like some of these things that are bubbling up here are the exact same thing, and it's like, yep, they're looking at the same stuff.
And essentially all stuff that I think that we have talked about right here on our gift guides over the last few years. Maybe not the string lights, but I've definitely seen those pop up in TikToks and Reels. The Barefoot Dreams, the blanket, I think that Sally put that on two years ago maybe. And that's another one that I definitely, I agree. That's in a lot of TikToks. Skims, they've got a pop up at the Domain. I was there on Sunday. Absolutely packed, and like they don't even have like a big offering.
Believe it. But I haven't worn my boxers at all.
I love them. They're perfect for me. I should have ordered the longer ones. I can't wait to buy another pack.
I should have ordered the longer ones.
Yeah.
I might go back and try the longer ones in a larger size and see if I like them more.
When you described the issues that you were having with them, that actually made me feel pretty confident, because like they're exactly what I'm used to, but they do correct some things that I dislike about other brands that I've worn. So they're a hit for me.
Mine are not relegated to never being worn, but they're a bottom of the stack. If I need to, I need to dip into these.
Yeah. You get what, 3-inch inseam?
Yeah, I should have gotten the 5.
You want to give your boy a pair?
Yeah, you can have my pair.
I'll try.
I've only worn one pair.
Nice.
Just homies sharing their drawers with each
other.
Gotta
share your drawers, dude.
What's more in the holiday spirit than that?
Dudes helping dudes.
Dudes helping dudes.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Speaking of dudes helping dudes, can we hear from our friends over at Nutrafol? You don't have to choose between better hair growth and your health. There's a holistic solution for men that promotes both healthier hair and whole body wellness. You can get ahead of thinning hair with Nutrafol's whole body approach to hair growth. No drugs, no compromises. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol's hair growth nutraceuticals go beyond genetics to multi-target the root causes of thinning, including stress, hormones, nutrition, metabolism, aging, and lifestyle through whole body health. It's physician formulated using natural medical grade ingredients. Their drug-free patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sexual health. And in a clinical study, men showed progressive improvement in hair growth and thickness after 3 and 6 months. So yes, this stuff does work. You too can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and entering promo code SCARIES to save $10 off your first month subscription. This offer is only available to U.S. customers for a limited time. Plus, free shipping on every order. So you get $10 off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code SCARIES. And like we said, free shipping on every order. Let's dip into a little sweater action.
Ooh.
I was reading something while preparing for this article or for this this episode, and it inspired me. This is from another Substack called The Love List by Jess Graves. And in here she wrote, "You never forget your first sweater." She said, "I remember mine. I was in my early 20s visiting my friend Ryan in New York. He'd warned me that the December temperatures would be unforgiving, but I packed naively with more fashion in mind than function. It quickly became apparent that my flimsy blazer wasn't going to cut it, and so, since I'd saved up some money shopping for the trip, I took my first grown-up trip to Bergdorf's. On 5F, I found a perfect wool sweater, a heather gray knit flecked with colored yarn and a cape-like silhouette, topped with a dramatic high turtleneck. Ryan gave me his sign of approval. I wore it out, burying my face deep into the neck of the thing as the icy wind whipped around the buildings." Like, just reading those first 2 paragraphs alone, I was like, I want to go sweater shopping so bad on a cold day right now. Barrett, I have a question that I asked in a similar vein in a recent episode. Do you have any sweaters that you just think about a lot?
Yeah. I'm going to start with a few that I think about from my very own closet, and I'll just rip off a few. Randy, hand at the ready. The Player 99 sweater released a few years ago from Aimé Leon Dore.
I'm so glad you brought this sweater up, Barrett.
With the Jordan and Tarjan knit.
What's up? Do you still wear this sweater?
I do. And look, I won't lie to you. It doesn't have quite the same cachet as it did when it first dropped and kind of blew our minds, but I wear it probably once, maybe twice a year. Typically like right around now in December on a colder night, or maybe for something that's a little bit holiday-ish, maybe January, February, if I pair it with some stuff that's, real pared back and neutral, and I just want a little like fun, something to wear. So yeah, it gets probably 2 wears a year, and that's okay because it's a novelty sweater and it's serving its purpose, and it still fits me well, and I think it's a lot of fun.
I was thinking about this the other night. I was a friend of the podcast, James, asked me about places to get graphic sweaters, and I started thinking about graphic sweaters, and I was like, dude, Barrett, I haven't seen Barrett wearing his Jordan sweater in forever, and I love that sweater.
It's so specific, you don't want to overplay that one.
It's one of those items that I would want to wear it a lot, but you can't deploy it numerous times around the same people, because then people start talking like, dude, why is Barrett obsessed with that sweater?
Yeah. Everything else on my list that I really think about, and I've got other sweaters that I like quite a bit, but like, there's nothing better than a black sweater that fits you really well, or is super soft, or goes with everything you have. And I've got. Do you ever think about what the oldest item in your closet is that you still wear?
I have not thought about that. Actually, okay. I know it. I think I know what it is just from you saying that. And I pulled it out the other day.
What is it?
I have a really old Detroit Tigers T-shirt that I bought brand new as a jersey, and I wore it so frequently that now it looks like I bought a $400 vintage Detroit Tigers T-shirt.
Hell yeah.
I thought about it the other day. I think I was talking to Randy, and I was like, I got to bust this thing out. I love it, and so I took it out, and it fits great.
Well, I have a very simple crew neck black cashmere sweater. It was from Barney's. It's Barney's brand that I'm pretty sure my high school girlfriend, and then kind of on and off again in college, I think her parents bought this for me Christmas. Christmas one year.
Shout out to her.
This would date back to like 2007 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's still, it has held up beautifully, but it's got like a little bit of fraying at the bottom, maybe like a little tiny hole somewhere. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, now it's just kind of got that je ne sais quoi that like makes a cashmere sweater even better the more that it ages. But like, still fits me great. It fits well under jackets, looks good on its own. So like that sweater, as simple as it is, holds a lot of real estate in my mind. I also have another black crew neck. This is the dark brown version of it, naturally from Orly, Japanese brand that I have a lot of time for, and I think I pulled mine from the Essence sale close to 2 years ago. But this one is awesome because you pick it up and you're like, I think this thing weighs 6 pounds, mm-hmm. and then it doesn't. But then it just got a lot of structure that's really, really nice and kind of different than the ultra soft drape of cashmere. So those are two just very standard black sweaters that I go into winter and I'm like, I can't wait to wear these. Mm-hmm. And they're black crew neck sweaters.
If I had to go through my closet right now, and I recently went through and took all my sweaters and decided what I was going to donate, what I was going to keep, and what I would think about, selling. And I have a stack of sweaters that really shapes up pretty well for me, and they cover a lot of ground. My first one is like a staple Aimé Leon Dore black cashmere sweater that my cost per wear on this thing at this point is so low that I will never shame myself for buying a sweater from them ever again. It just is a nice sweater. It's held up really, really well. There's no holes in it, and I've had it for I think 3 years now. And I think we've said it before, the knitwear over there is still
probably one of the things they do the best.
I think they do it. I am always happy with it. I have a sweater that this falls into sweaters that I think about a lot that I no longer possess.
Okay.
I had a frame cashmere sweater that was very thin. Sally bought it on a deep discount sale during the holidays. And so I think we got it for like $120 off of a lot.
It's a nice deal.
And I packed it to Italy and I brought it on our boat day and I left it at a restaurant that can only be reached by boat. As we pulled away, the realization that I'd left the sweater, I was just like, I'm never going to see this thing again.
You don't think they just had like a FedEx office right on the island along with the nice restaurant there?
Well, unfortunately, Sally lost her phone minutes later, and so we kind of had some other things we had to deal with in that moment.
Was this on the recent trip that you carried on only for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It was a perfect thin sweater for like a nice light fall day, for just hanging out the house, or like even a summer night, like just to toss on and feel good about it.
Yeah.
And then honestly, the thing that I wear most is my cashmere hoodie at this point. I wear it around the house all the time. I wear it to run errands, and it's just something really comfortable. Another sweater my final sweater that I have in my rotation currently is one that I bought with my employee discount. And I think they gave me an additional discount because they felt bad for me. But we had a dinner party that was going to be heavily photographed when I was working my old job. And they convinced me to wear an elder statesman sweater. And the sweater was like $1,500. And of course, I was, young and in my 20s, and I got hammered at this party. And I didn't ruin the sweater, but I made it unbuyable for anybody that would come in later and try to buy that sweater. I was supposed to keep it nice enough to keep on the sales floor. Don't tell anyone that. But they were like, all right, we can't put this back on the sales floor. So now I just own a really nice elder statesman sweater that's not always current in terms of like the colors on it.
Okay.
But it's so soft and it fits so well that I just can't help but do it. Like, do you have any sweaters that you've worn so much that it almost like you don't want to get rid of them because it fits your body perfectly?
I mean, the one that I mentioned, the old one, the black cashmere one, is probably closest to that.
Because I was a friend of the pod works for Ayr, AYR, mm-hmm. and they gifted me a sweater last year. And when I was talking to them on the phone, they said, this sweater's cool because it actually kind of forms to your body after wearing it for a bit. And once they said that to me and I looked at the sweater, I thought it really does just form to my body. And I've started to love that sweater too. My issue now is just cleaning my sweaters.
This probably won't come as a surprise to listeners or people that know me, but like my sweater washing process is pretty insane, and I don't expect anybody to follow suit. But
lay it on me.
So when I've got a few sweaters that are ready for washing,
I have 3 that I need to wash like stat.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I do. I get a little bit of Woolite Delicate, and then I fill up the bathtub with a shallow pool of cold water, and I drop a little Woolite Delicate in there, and then you're gonna push your sweater down in there.
Okay.
And then you're just gonna kind of lightly agitate. You don't want to do any crazy washing machine type motions. It's just you're just kind of shaking it around, getting a little bit of soap in there. And then you're hand washing in the bathtub, Woolite Delicate, and then you drain, you fill it up again with clean water, kind of go through the same process again, kind of like getting the soap out, but very gently.
Do you let the sweaters dry at all,
gently
or do you just
and
put
delicately.
them back in?
And so and then you're not going to wring, you just kind of like press to get the moisture, as much moisture as you can out of the sweater. And then you're going to get a towel out, and you're going to lay the towel flat, and then you're going to shape the sweater on the towel, and then you roll the towel.
Oh, okay.
To kind of like expel the rest, like the rest of the water.
Okay.
And then you roll it back out and you let it air dry. So
did you learn this somewhere, or is this a Barrett Dudley original?
I think I read this process somewhere, and it worked really nicely for some very nice sweaters that I was honestly like too scared to even dry clean. But if you must, dry cleaning is an acceptable alternative, especially if you're not really washing your sweaters all that often.
Yeah.
It will, dry cleaning will not, like the process that I just outlined is the best if you want the longest lasting, greenest, and like, you know, best overall care for your sweater. But in a pinch, the dry cleaning will work as well. It just breaks down the fibers.
I know I don't love dry cleaning my stuff, and so I've really avoided doing it at all costs because I just don't want to, especially my sweaters that I feel like I held it in a higher esteem than I do a lot of my other clothes.
There are modern day washing machines that I think have cycles that are basically hand wash, that will barely agitate, and that are essentially for like your most delicate delicates, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's another option for those people out there with brand new washing machines. But yeah, it's a labor of love. But I probably do it once a year with a few sweaters that need a washing. But it's tough. You mentioned a UT Elder Statesman sweater on this list. That would be an all-time grail.
This one kills me because it's something that I saw once, was amazed that they actually even created a burnt orange sweater with a longhorn on it. And I didn't have the money to buy it at the time. And even now, anything Elder Statesman is a huge stretch.
Yeah.
But like, there's a part of me that will always kick myself for not buying one for Sally, because I was during the holiday season. You know, obviously UT football is never going out of style in the Austin culture. It was just something that I will always go back and think, I wish I would have gotten that, because even if you can Google it and you won't find it anywhere on Google, like it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, they make them like custom for the stores. Yeah,
fucking killed me, man. And like, I'm just bummed because I think Sally would she would have loved that thing. It's it's kind of a reckless purchase because you're not going to wear, like you're more likely to wear that to a basketball game than you are anything else at UT. But it still just works, and so it's just killed me. The one sweater that I've been thinking about lately that's just been carrying around bags in my head is the Frism work sweater from the Boys at Canoe Club that Chase was wearing. It's sold out before we could get to it. I don't want to buy it from anyone else.
I hope that they are able to restock that, even if it's like January. Like, that's great for.
I'll buy it anytime because I know Austin. I know just based on the silhouette, color, and look of it that's something that I will wear for seasons to come.
Chase and Timothy got in our head for sure about those like high neck, like crew neck cardigans
I'm addicted.
That, and I've been looking for one, especially since the Frism Works one sold out. The last ones that I'll mention that I think kind of perpetually live in my head, you know, and they kind of have their moments as far as being in the zeitgeist and being like super fashionable, but I think owning one is kind of a forever purchase that it's not something I'd ever sell. But it's basically any of the hand knit, like long double RL cardigans. Just always, they just like, you know, you talk about stuff that evokes fall and winter. Makes you just want to be in a ski lodge, like sitting on a deck, drinking a cup of coffee, like watching the snow, that type of thing.
This is a sweatpants and t-shirt sweater with a cup of coffee for sure.
Yeah. But these, you know, they kind of release one a year and they're wildly expensive. And but every single year I'm like, man, if I could just, I'm basically waiting for like that unicorn sale where like it goes on super discount for like $300 or $400, and there's one size left, and it happens to be your size.
Just pay the $1,600, Barrett. just pay the $1,600, man. Figure it out.
You know what? When I'm spending a week every year at a lodge in Colorado or Wyoming or Lake Tahoe, that's when I'll buck up and just drop the $1,600.
You kind of do have to have it like that before you can truly have it like that. I've got some articles of interest as well as wish list items that we'll quickly go through. But before we do, let's hear from our friends over at Early Bird. I'm just a big Early Bird fan. We got a package to the office the other day. We got a bunch of sample packs. We got some full bottles. And when the Early Bird shows up at the office, everybody is happy. If you're not familiar with these, it's 2.5 milligrams of natural THC and 12.5 milligrams of CBD in each gummy. These things are formulated for fun and to make you feel good. It doesn't matter if you take a half of one, you can take a couple of them. Whatever your use case is, I'm sure you'll enjoy. We are even talking before this podcast about using them just to sleep and how good of a night's sleep we get if we take one single Early Bird and just return down for the night. These guys are based out of Austin. They're friends of ours. They're just good guys. But more than anything, we stand behind the product, and everyone that we've recommended them to always comes back and says, those were great. I need to get more. We do have a code for you guys right now. Get 20% off your first purchase with promo code WIX. WICKS, at earlybirdcbd.com. Again, that's 20% off your first purchase, so load that cart with promo code WIX at earlybirdcbd.com. All right, Barrett, we got some articles of interest. I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on these, so let's get some knee-jerk reactions going. Balenciaga show that was heavily covered on all social media this past week.
I assume you must be talking about the one where they was it at Erewhon?
Yeah, they did like an Erewhon mix-in where they had like the Travis Scott charcoal water. I saw Nolita Dirtbag was auctioning off his for a starting bid of $150, which was a good bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was even a bit.
Look, I think the creative director of Balenciaga is still Demna Gvasalia, famously of Vetements, who has basically made his entire career.
Pronounced Vetements.
Who has basically made his entire career out of like trolling the entire fashion world. Like, and I'm kind of stunned that he's still having so much success with it, to be completely honest.
When I saw people like posting all about this, I was like, oh, we're doing Balenciaga again. Like people are very much like just kind of putting the past in the past and rolling on.
And
are you buying giant sneakers?
No, like not like I can't. I'm not going back to that. And yeah, they're called like the 20XL or something. And it's just like
so dumb.
You know, it's like, hey, you thought the Triple S was crazy. Like watch this. And it's basically like it's basically the Mischief big red boots, but wrapped up in suede and neutral color palette instead of being rubber and bright red. You know what I mean? But it's like the same level of like kind of almost like silliness.
Yeah.
Now, look, at the same time, I think that he is sometimes pretty brilliant and definitely ahead of some things. I think he just exaggerates them so much that they're nearly impossible to digest at first. But like, I actually still think about like some of the Vetements used to do a hoodie where like the hood, you could basically wear the sweatshirt either way, like frontwards or backwards, and like the hood moved. It was like cut so that you could like pull it over either way. And like I still think about that hoodie and like kind of like occasionally we'll just kind of cruise on Grail to see if one is laying around. And anytime they are, they're still wildly expensive on the resale market. So like the Triple S, like it kind of led it changed the trajectory of like the chunky sneaker trend overall, right? So it allowed a lot of the stuff that went mainstream to happen. But he's got a lot of sway, a lot of influence, but this stuff is always borderline laughable when it first debuts, and I don't feel any differently about this.
I did enjoy the singular celeb shots that were done at this, just kind of the portrait of everyone standing in the street. I thought it was a good marketing tactic. Can we talk Tree Pain real quick? Did you know who Tree Pain was before a few days ago?
I still don't know who Tree Pain is.
You don't know who Tree Pain is?
No.
Tree Pain is Taylor Swift's publicist.
Okay.
Who put out the statement against Dumois about the rumblings about whether or not Joe Alwyn and Taylor Swift
were married or had a ceremony.
Even if it wasn't legal.
So I know a little bit about this through Kelly Keeks. I'm paying attention to her reels on Instagram is how I've kept up with this Dumois Taylor Swift.
Do me a favor and Google Tree Pain real quick.
Okay.
Because she's essentially like my dream woman at this point. Like she's in charge of Taylor Swift. She's a redhead. She looks like PR, or she looks like entertainment Jen Psaki. Like it's just like I love this woman. Like I want this woman to run my life. I want her to be my publicist and just handle things and go anti-Dumois.
What a name, Tree Pain.
Dude, Tree Pain. When I heard Tree Pain was trending, I was like, oh, we have to like. Do we have a new rapper?
T-Pain?
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Did he change his name?
Yeah, is he like changing his name for environmental reasons? Like, what's going on? But yeah, I had no clue who she was. I'd never seen her before. Honestly, if I saw a picture of her before, I would have thought it was just Jen Psaki. So whatever. But I'm pretty much in favor of anyone who's dunking on Dumois at this point because I think Dumois is just taking a little far, just a little too far. Not in this scenario. I don't really care if you theorize about a wedding ceremony, but there were also rumblings of possibly Taylor Swift having like a miscarriage, and that's why they were getting so defensive about the allegations here, and they didn't want it to snowball.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to stand behind Tree Pain. I stand with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, the Dumois thing is tough, right? It was hard. It was always going to be hard for it to get as popular as it did and maintain its kind of like level of innocence if it ever had.
Yes,
one
exactly. Once it got to like 1 million followers, it's like, okay, then how are you going to be like I don't know. It's like there's too many people sending stuff in for it to feel legitimate to me.
Yeah.
To the point where like it almost gets icky. Like these are still people.
And really what I like more is like you know, I find it far more interesting when like B-list country musician is cheating on his C-list wife, and then there's like a bunch of guesses in the comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, well, okay, whatever. Like if you're gonna go out there and be a philanderer, then like you gotta take what's coming to you. But then with the insanity of the fan bases for the top A-listers, whether that's Taylor Swift or Selena Gomez or whoever else, it's like, yeah, it gets sticky and it gets messy and a little weird. So, yeah.
We have got 2 more articles of interest. Have you heard of Beige Christmas?
No.
Beige Christmas is something that Randy brought to my attention, which seems like it'd be very in the retail therapy vein. But while we don't need audio for this, I don't think, mainly because it's annoying. Beige Christmas is actually, Randy, can you explain what Beige Christmas is while this plays in the background for the people at home that are watching? You skipped ahead somehow, Barrett, to some TikTok about people. Like, it's 2 cartoons, 2 cartoons spooning in bed.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. I'm gonna have to go back and do this one again. Go ahead, Randy.
All right, Beige Christmas is more about having an aesthetic that's just like, it's all monochromatic and it's just super sad, and like it's not even corporate Christmas. Corporate Christmas is like just very tight and like I don't know, just bright and red. Like it's all just browns and whites and dark colors. And this person that is getting dunked on, she took this like really nice like Little Tykes Christmas tree, and it's just completely, it was like colorful and bright and rainbow, and she's repainting it to fit her aesthetic. So like,
yeah, she's spray painting a plastic tree to give to her kids, which one, like I try not to spray paint stuff that I give to my kids that put everything in their mouths.
Right.
Like also, kids don't need, like, don't get me wrong. This is retail therapy here. We love aesthetic everything. We like talking about it. We like implementing it. We like it. But you don't need to make kids' toys aesthetic. Like kids want the classic toys. They want the colors. These are kids.
This is the saddest part. The ornaments here that are just all nice and they're just brown.
Oh yeah, you want primary color ornaments? Nope, you're getting brown.
Does this end with her giving this back to her kids?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
In the comments, she's saying it's her tree now. Like it's really bad.
No, I'd be saying that too if I got caught like she did
in it like this.
Yeah. Terrible.
The weird part of this is not adhering to the aesthetic that you've set out for, to create for yourself in your own home for the holiday or Christmas season. But yeah, doing this to your child's toy, covering it in spray paint and then handing it back to them and being like, here you go. That part's a bit strange. And yes, this tree is looking awfully dull, isn't it?
If there's ever a time to be tacky and on the nose, it is Christmas time.
Yeah.
Like that is just my opinion. Our final today is about Moo Abraham. You familiar with Moo Abraham?
Again, no.
I think she's my new favorite influencer. She's 11 years old.
You're learning me today.
She's on TikTok, and her parents are just really rich. Her parents are she's nicknamed the billionaire's daughter on TikTok. And she is the daughter of Emily and Adam Abraham, the founders of London and Dubai-based secondhand luxury goods store called Love Luxury, which buys and sells products like handbags, watches, and jewelry. And so this girl has her own TikTok account where she's just absolutely flexing on everybody.
Oh yeah, I do recognize her now. Yeah.
She's got a $124,000 watch she's been wearing. She's got a $31,000 handbag she's rocking around town.
This is not new though. We've had influencers before who are doing nothing but being children influencers or teen influencers who are doing nothing but being.
Dude, she just did a fit check and showed off her $28,000 earrings right here.
Incredibly lavish because of wealthy parents. Yeah, it's wealth porn.
I'm very excited for this girl to ruin some guy's life later in life when she has no concept of money and he's like, wait, what? Like you want what for Christmas? And
yeah, this is so much less enjoyable to me than just like watching Succession though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want to actually see like rich kids being rich because then I realize that it's actually real. I'd rather see the Roy family being cutthroat and doing it in bougie locations.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wish list.
I'm gonna let you go first while I dial up a link here for you.
I didn't want to do what I'm doing today, but I'm doing it again. Mainly why I didn't want to do what I'm doing today is because one, I've already done something similar to this, and two, I'm doing back-to-back Grateful Dead things, which I'm trying to avoid. And so
You just got to be who you are, though.
But
Will,
here's
you know
the
what I
thing.
mean?
Christmas is coming. So our wish list items have never held more weight than they currently hold right now. And I actually want this. I've wanted this since I saw one at the final shows of Dead & Company. It's my favorite Grateful Dead tee. It's from a 1992 summer tour that they did with the Steve Miller Band. It's an everything print shirt that has a skeleton playing bocce ball on the, what? Croquet on the front of the shirt, and then on the back of the shirt, it's got a graphic that says Steve Miller Band. It's my favorite Grateful Dead vintage tee that I've ever seen. I've stuck with me for about 6 months now, and I've always looked at them online. And I'm just going to put this on the list just in case, the wife is looking at it. But
just in case somebody happens upon it.
I'm still also very much, as much as I'm willing to spend money on vinyls and things like that and pointless stuff, I'm still never going to be warmed up to the prices of vintage tees, especially in the Grateful Dead universe. It is something that I can't stomach. It's something I need gifted to me, and it's something I just don't want to go pay for myself. And so this is going on the wish list in hopes that it arrives via Santa.
Okay, so I'm going broad here, kind of cheating, but this week I, through shopping various sales and thinking about sweaters, stumbled upon this brand that I believe is Japanese. And here I'll read you the description from Mr. Porter. Casual elegance, unparalleled comfort. Now I'm going to botch the name for everybody. Le 17 Septembre.
Okay.
Knitwear clothing range has the pieces you need to add to your cold weather wardrobe. This brand's knitwear products are made in South Korea, providing an assurance of craftsmanship and quality. Build on your collection of Le 17 Septembre knitwear products at Mr. Porter. From turtlenecks to cardigans, these are the top picks you don't want to be without. And really, I could just have my pick here. I think the things that this blue full zip cardigan is really was at the top of my list, and then my size sold out. But
I like that.
I just really, really love how cozy this looks. This kind of is giving that on the deck drinking coffee double RL vibe, but a little bit more minimalist and Korean and
I like the
Japanese
cinch. I like the waist cinch on that.
Yeah. And then there's this one right here. They do the full crew neck. There's one of those, the crew neck cardigan like we've been talking about.
Yep.
This is another kind of shaggy mohair version.
How do you feel about adding the collar to the?
But it's got a collar.
How do you feel about that?
I like that a lot.
I kind of do too.
I really like that. I think it's very.
Frism Works has a very similar one to the one that we've been just absolutely coveting. They have a very similar one that has a collar on it that still could get purchased.
As the Brits might say, it's very smart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's smart.
Yeah, it's smart.
It's cheeky.
And then I'm also going to pull up this one that's at Saks. Saks has a bunch of these on sale right now as well. This is a white version of that mohair that I also, maybe not for you with a brand new baby. Maybe you should stick with the black.
Yep.
But I love a winter white. I love a holiday white.
I do too.
So
I do too.
Le 17 Septembre Korean knitwear brand. I just pick something for me. You know what I mean? Like it's all going hard.
I'm all in on this for you, Barrett. I'm very happy. This is one of these things where I hope that I forget the name of this brand quickly so that I don't have to think about it even more. That's all she wrote. Like we said, next week we got some big stuff coming. We got the In and Out episodes. We might have some more shifting vibes as well. And then I think that's our last scheduled episode of the year. But there are some murmurs of Barrett and I hopping in the stew over Christmas and maybe doing a year-end listener questions episode and doing that.
Mailbag,
so
yeah.
If you got some mailbag questions, you know where to reach us. But otherwise, I think we'll catch you on the flip side.